I was sound asleep when loud bangings jolted me awake. The cops busted in and immediately pinned me down. "What are you doing? Let me go! Get away from me! Do you even know who I am?" "Rebecca Darlington, you're under arrest for stealing Mr. Woodley Jones's heirloom necklace. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." "Stealing? What? No, I didn't do it. Let me go." Man, I got into big trouble that time. Oh, hey guys, I'm Rebecca. Believe it or not, it's actually my bizarre life story here. Before we start, please like and subscribe. My dad passed away when I was only 5, so my mom had to step up and take over the entire family business on her own. And she was the biggest perfectionist on the planet, not just in business, but in the family too. Seriously, it's her way or no way. I hated this and always tried to rebel. However, Mom always found a way to ruin my fun and forced me to study business instead. Boring. But lucky me, my brother, Kevin, always got my back. One morning over breakfast, Mom decided to drop a bombshell on me. "Rebecca, I've arranged you a date with Brian, the Woodley Joneses' son. You are to go there for dinner and be on your best behavior. They are very affluent. They own half of the city." "No chance. I'm not some pawn in your bid to gain business deals. If you ignore my orders, I'll transfer you to a boarding school all the way to Australia." "You wouldn't. Don't test me, young lady."
"Perhaps you could arrange this date for another time when Rebecca has had time to digest it?"
"If I wanted your input, I would have asked for it." "He's my brother, and he has a say in this." "Your adopted brother. It's about time he knows his place." Kevin looked so hurt, but still put a smile on for me. He's such an angel, just like his mom, Rosalie. Rosalie used to work here as a maid, and Kevin would often come play with me. But then she suddenly passed away, leaving Kevin all alone in this world. So Mom adopted him out of pity. To me, Kevin's always been family, and I will not let Mom treat him like that. How about I let her have a taste of her own medicine? So I took Mom's magic money card and went on a huge shopping splurge. Mom wouldn't be mad if her card missed a few zeros, right? Now let's get ready for the date. Ta-da! I look crazy, right? Take that, Mom. No way will this Brian guy want a second date. Kevin kindly offered to drive me to my date. He reassured me it would be okay, then passed me a box of chocolates to give to Brian. Oh, Kevin. It was gone 9 p.m. when I strolled into the grand entrance hall of the Woodley Joneses' mansion. Brian's jaw dropped to the floor as soon as he saw my crazy look. Oh, but I didn't stop there. I first asked all the servers to leave us alone, then made him nauseous with my table manners, and wowed him with my big appetite. I even sneaked bites of the chocolates meant for him and playfully fed him some. After dinner, I asked him to give me a tour of the mansion. But by the time we reached the jewelry room, my head was spinning. Then everything went blurry, and I blacked out. The next morning, I was already back at my house without any memories of how I got back. Then these cops came in and arrested me. Now I'm in this interrogation room being accused of stealing the Woodley Jones necklace. Apparently, it was quite pricey and had been handed down through 12 generations. You were at the scene of the crime. If you want to prove your innocence, then I suggest you start telling me what happened. Like I said, I went there for dinner, then fainted, and somehow woke up in my bed with cops everywhere. Stop lying. Brian was the one who was drugged, during which time you cut off the power so you wouldn't be caught on CCTV, then stole the necklace, didn't you? Okay, Mr. Policeman. Daniel, right? I know you're trying to play good cop, bad cop with me, so I'll get to the point. Let me go, and I will ask my mom to pay you handsomely. You know her, right? Head of the Darlington conglomerate? Are you trying to bribe to law enforcement? You could get 7 years in jail for this, plus the robbery sentence. I can assure you it wouldn't be less than 10 years. 10 years? I didn't mean to. I just freaked out. I'm rich, okay? I have everything I want. I wouldn't risk stealing something like that. You did send all the staff home, so there's no one to corroborate your story. How exactly did you get home? I told you I blacked out. All I know is I didn't do anything wrong. You couldn't find the necklace at my place or on me either. You have no evidence against me. Then enjoy a stay in a cell for 24 hours, in which time I shall find the proof I need to lock you away for a very long time. Wait, no, please trust me. Someone, anyone. This was so unfair. I just wanted to go home. Fortunately, that cop couldn't find any proof and had to let me go. Finally, after 24 hours behind cold bars, unjustly accused, all I need right now is a warm welcome from Mom and Kevin and a nice bath. But what I got was a slap in the face. How could you steal from the Woodley Joneses? Now they'll never do business with me again. Mom, I didn't do it. Why does nobody believe me? Would you look at yourself? Have you done anything good for this family? All you ever did was party, throw my hard-earned money out the window, then dare to cross me. You're no daughter of mine. Get out, now! I was shocked and heartbroken by her words. My own mother wouldn't believe me? So I walked out. Just you wait, Mom. I'll prove it to you. I'm no thief. With Kevin's help, I rented a place not too far from home, but it was nowhere near the luxury I was used to. No worries. Once I proved myself innocent, things would get better. Now I just had to find that police guy, Daniel, that arrested me. He must have insight on the case, right? But when I arrived at the police station, I saw Daniel being scolded by his boss. You couldn't even solve the simplest case. Daniel, what has gotten into you? You're off the case. Jack, it's over to you. Leave it with me, sir. I won't let you down, like some incompetents. Sheesh, that Jack guy was such a douchebag. And Daniel sure did look glum about all of this. So I approached him and suggested we work together to find the culprit and kick Jack in the butt. At first, he refused, as apparently a suspect participating in the investigation was not procedure. Relax, it's not like I want access to classified documents or anything. Think of it as working with a suspect. If we cooperate, you can monitor me to see if I really am the culprit. It's a win-win. It's not like that. I'm no longer on the case. Jeez, I didn't expect you to give up so easily. So much for being a pro. Maybe your boss was right to reassign the case. Who are you to judge me? You're still the #1 suspect in this case, and I got my eyes on you, thief. So, is that a yes? Ugh, fine. Bingo. Surely there's no place better to hunt for clues than the crime scene, right? But Brian's mansion was locked down and had security everywhere. Luckily, Daniel told me he'd already studied the house's layout and knew that the only way to intrude without being noticed was through this door. Yes, folks, you heard it right. A dog door. The bar couldn't get any lower, could it? Just shut up. We sneaked through it and ended up in the staff kitchen. The main building has already been fully swept, as that's where we knew the main suspect was. The staff quarters weren't a focus point. Daniel launched into a CSI mode, checking the area for footprints, and I watched with fascination. He found a strange shoe print which didn't belong to any of the staff, as they were required to wear uniform shoes. This type of shoe print is rare. This could be a big clue. I didn't want him to start accusing me again, so I wiggled my foot about. It's obviously not my tiny size 6 feet. I didn't say a thing about you. This obviously belonged to a man with size 12 feet. Is it your accomplice? Is he Bigfoot or something? Are you crazy? Whose accomplice, you madcap? Shush! Are you trying to get us caught? Oopsie. Just then, we heard running footsteps coming our way. Shoot, we gotta get out. The only escape is through this window. Again? Oh, what a burden. Daniel grabbed my hand, then we both jumped through the window. Smack! His shoe was right up my face. Ouch! Get your dirty foot off me! I tried getting up, and we ended up kissing. My first kiss. Wait, what is that sound? I turned around to see 2 big dogs growling at us. We run on the count of 3, okay? 1, just run! We ran straight to the road and caught a taxi, leaving behind those vicious dogs. Your hand? Sorry. It was because of those dogs. Is being chased by dogs the in-trend? A few nights ago, I saw those exact 2 dogs chasing another man along this road. Daniel immediately asked the driver to show him his dashcam footage. It showed this tall, masked man in all black coming out of Brian's house. A shiver ran through me at the sight of him. There was something unsettlingly familiar. The next day, Daniel made me traipse into at least a dozen different shoe stores so he could ask the staff about the sole print we'd found last night, but no luck. The scorching sun was getting to me, so Daniel brought out this umbrella. Cute, huh? If only this big hole hadn't been directly above me. By lunchtime, I saw Daniel sweating in the heat, so I grabbed a tissue to wipe for him. The heat rose as we were so close, but once done, he was even more oily. We were just like 2 peas in a pod. Later that day, we made it to this ancient shoe shop that said it was a Leighton, a brand that made customized handmade shoes. Wait, I've heard about that exclusive brand before, but if someone could afford these shoes, why would they go out and about stealing? Daniel seemed to agree, and the investigation was at a dead end. The truth is, I had my suspicions about who the real thief was, so I went back to the crime scene to see if I could find any evidence. Daniel did say this dog door was the only other way in, so I searched around the area and spotted this shiny bracelet in a bush. Oh, I know who this belongs to. So I've asked him to meet me here. I found your bracelet. Thank you so much. You know how important this is to me. The bracelet is a keepsake from my mom. She gave it to me before she passed away. I found it at Brian's house. The night you drove me to Brian's, did you go straight home afterward? Yeah, of course. I've been on the investigation for a couple of days and found that the thief wore size 12 Leighton shoes. I gave you a pair for your birthday. The thief was also identified by a taxi driver's dash cam as a male, around 5'10", the exact body figure of you. And now this bracelet? The coincidences are stacking up, but I can't believe it. Not without your explanation. After all, you are my brother. Yes, it was me, but I had no other choice. I actually have a sister, a half-sister from my dad's side, and she's going through surgery. I really needed the money to pay her bills. I might look successful on the outside, but I work for your mom unpaid. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for all she's done for me, and I couldn't ask her for more, so I took the risk. Why didn't you tell me? I can help you. You were always embroiled in arguments with your mom, so I don't want to burden you further. And you only seem to need me when you're in trouble. That's true. Thinking back, we rarely talked. Even when we talked, it was always me complaining about Mom to him without realizing Mom has been the hardest on him. I hated what he did, but I knew he only did it to save his sister, and I felt terrible that I'd had Kevin's love and care all of these years, and she hadn't. Kevin, don't worry. Just leave it to me. The next day, Daniel came to see me and told me the police department had just found new evidence against me. The chocolates I'd given to Brian that night contained anesthetics. It all sounds very suspicious to me and may just change the direction of my investigation. Are you investigating me now? No, it's highly possible that the real culprit wanted to target you. I need your cooperation. We have to hurry before they blame it all on you. Who helped you prepare the present that day? No one. I bought them at the store. I felt awful lying to Daniel, but I couldn't let Kevin go down for this. Not when his sister needed him. It was time for me to put an end to this devastating chain of events. I went to the police station and confessed to stealing the necklace. They arrested me, and right at that moment, Daniel stepped in, surprised. Rebecca, what are you doing here? Let her go! What are you doing? We can't arrest her without evidence. Daniel, it's okay. I already confessed. What? That's nonsense. I insisted that I did it, and he had no choice but to let them arrest me. I know it's not that simple, Rebecca, and I'm going to prove it. Daniel was right. Everything was off about this trial. First, this Jack guy had somehow swapped all the evidence against Kevin to me, from my shoe prints on the staff kitchen to the recording from the taxi driver. Plus, the necklace was later found in Miss Rebecca Darlington's bedroom. It was never there in the first place. I wanted to speak up for myself, but that douchebag Jack shut me up. The judge was about to sentence me when Daniel kicked the door and barged in. Stop! Your Honor, I believe all the evidence presented to you was faked by him. The whole court bursted out in surprise. Turns out Daniel's boss had suspected Jack was a rotten apple, so he actually wanted to use this chance to expose him. He pretended to kick Daniel out of the case and appointed Jack instead to lure him into the trap. As predicted, after I confessed to the crime, Daniel followed Jack and saw that he was taking bribes from Kevin. Well paid. I'll fake the evidence. Rebecca will go down for this. Don't mess it up. It's tricky enough to get that brat to take the blame for me. He played me? There was no half-sister who's in the hospital? Ugh, don't look at me like that. My real mom only died because of your mom, Dawn Darlington. That woman flagrantly accused her of stealing. Mom was so distraught, she had a heart attack and passed away. Dawn only adopted me out of guilt, and she treated me like garbage, making me run around for you. So I decided to take revenge, show them how being wrongly accused of something can ruin lives. But look where vengeance got him. He was a monster, and I really wondered, was it really worth it? In the end, both Jack and Kevin went to jail. Unfortunately, without Kevin as key personnel to help out with my family business, it went into turmoil. So I offered to help Mom with it. You do that, after everything I put you through. We're a family. I also felt bad for taking you and what you provide me for granted. I'm so ashamed of how I treated you. I've been cold, controlling, and unfair on you and Kevin. It's my fault he turned against us and sought revenge. Mom, it must have been hard for you running the business and caring for me and Kevin, especially without Dad. I forgive you and want to just put it behind us and start again. Now, I just had one last person to make amends with. Rebecca, I didn't think you'd ever want to see me again. I didn't. I was so mad, but then I realized that being that way was getting me nowhere. To forgive others means forgiving and liberating ourselves. I walked out of the prison feeling much more positive about it all and saw Daniel waiting for me. Say, we make a good team. What do you think about being my partner? Partner? For investigative purposes or for life? How about both?
Why do we have to study logarithms? Will they help us with stockbroking? Surely not. Why suddenly create the x and then force us to find it? And why do I have to prove that it's an isosceles triangle? I see clearly that it is. Duh! Then I received the note back saying, "What are you two talking about?" I just figured that another kid had intercepted it. So with my eyes still glued to my level 3692 of Candy Crush, I scrawled back, "Keep your nose out of my business," and then handed the paper over without looking. Ahem. But your business is taking place in my class. I slowly looked up and saw that it was my teacher. Oh, dang. Busted again. Looking over, I saw Brett with his big guilty face. Ugh, he should have been more careful. Okay, you. And you. Out. You're probably wondering how I'm such a pro at this pose. Well, it's because I've done it 1,000 times. And that serious woman over there is Mrs. Megan, my math teacher. I swear, she totally has it in for me. Okay, let me tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was a girl who, due to an unexpected accident with a trash can and an ill-placed skateboard, ended up arriving a teensy bit late for her exam. But the teacher refused to let her in, and also failed her. Grrr. Yeah, that girl was me, Lexi. Thus, from that moment forth, she became my arch enemy. So, during her boring lecture, I threw a paper plane at the board and said, "Miss, you've spelled arithmetic wrong. I suppose spelling is a bit hard for a numbers person like you. It's okay." Clearly my comment got to her, as during that same class, she picked on me to graph a function. Easy peasy. So I created a masterpiece that made her eyes roll, and the whole class found it hilarious. And as expected, she gave me a lengthy lecture on my childish behavior, and even threatened to call my parents. Poof! Yeah, good luck with that, as unless it involved business, then my parents were practically impossible to reach. Besides, I was just having a laugh. Mrs. Megan needed to lighten up. So I secretly stuck a piece of paper saying "free hugs" on her back. I lurked behind a tree and watched as all these people surrounded her. She looked so bewildered as she tried to navigate past them while having no idea what was going on. The good old days. Suddenly, Brett patted my shoulder and told me 30 minutes had passed and we needed to go back to class. My butt hadn't even touched my chair when I heard a patronizing voice say, "You shouldn't act like that." Ugh, that's Faye, the teacher's pet and a real pick-me girl. Every time the teacher asks a question, she wriggles her arm in the air and squeaks out, "Me, me, me!" Mrs. Megan only likes her because she always laughs at her boring jokes. Oh well, I may have no proof, but in my experience, Faye's definitely not as innocent as she looks. Don't say I'm jealous, 'cause I'm 100% not. You probably think I hate school, but it's still way better than my so-called home. Ugh. At least school could be amusing, while my home life consisted of mom and dad locked away in their office 24/7. I can't remember the last time either of them cooked dinner. So takeaway it is. So I'm texting Ben, my super sexy BF. He's been studying in France, and he's back today. I've missed him so much, but unfortunately, I couldn't pick him up from the airport because of, school. And tonight, he has a family party, but we're meeting up tomorrow. Yay! Let me see your face, sweetie. I miss you. You know what? Today, that teacher gave me detention again. Really? She messed with the wrong one, didn't she? Definitely. I will retaliate tomorrow. She'd better watch out. Okay, but don't end up in after-school detention, as I want to see you. You know, my mom's also a teacher, but she's not that much. Oh, by the way, she's here. You want to say hello? Yeah, sure. Ben, it gets on my nerves whenever I think of that Before I had a chance to finish my words, a person popped up on the screen. Mrs. Megan! Lexi? OMG! We both gave each other stunned, open-mouthed stares. It looked like the screen had frozen. Literally! Then just when I didn't think it could get any worse, suddenly a familiar voice broke the silence. Oh, Ben has a girlfriend? Let me see her. Huh? That's Faye! Oh, my days, this is too much to process. My two enemies were in the same frame. Shocked, I ended the call. Right after, I received a text from Ben saying, "Don't worry, my mother may look super serious, but she's kind. And the girl is Faye, my neighbor. We've known each other since childhood, and she's cool." This was so crazy. Now I'd have to face them both every day, knowing that they're associated with my BF. Oh, the future is as dark as night. And yeah, this is the beginning of the series thusly entitled Living with My Future Mother-in-Law and My BF's Annoying Female Best Friend. And since then, things at school turned weird. For our class Halloween event, which had a Toy Story theme, Mrs. Megan was in charge of handing out the parts. Faye was Bo Peep, and she had this really cute outfit. While me, I was stuck as Mrs. Potato Head. My outfit was so lame, and one of my googly eyes kept on falling off. Ugh! It was so embarrassing, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't mess with her anymore, as I still wanted to be with her son. Ugh. Worse still, math class became an endurance test. I was so sick of being compared to that goody two-shoes Faye. Lexi, if you spent more time studying and less time painting your nails, you'd be a top student like Faye. Poof! Faye caught on to what was going on and also started playing tricks on me. One time in class, when I was dozing and Mrs. Megan was correcting the homework, I overheard, "This symbol shows that A is not equal to B." Faye then turned around and whispered, "Just like you're not equal to me. And you don't deserve my Ben either." What? Ben is mine, not hers. I bared my teeth and was about to say something when that brat started pretending to cry, saying that I was picking on her. Out! Mrs. Megan came to us with burning eyes. We were walking out when in a sympathetic tone she added, "Faye, you stay." I returned to my meditating pose, but, I couldn't shake off my anger. How unfair! Later, when it was lunchtime, Faye walked over to me with a cup of Coke, saying it was a peace offering, and that she was sorry for earlier. This was confusing, but whatever. I took it and was about to take a sip when Brett rushed over waving his arms about. "Lexi, stop!" I saw Faye put soy sauce in it. I was just a second away from yelling at her when Mrs. Megan appeared. I smiled smugly, thinking Faye would finally get into trouble. But to my surprise, Mrs. Megan took a sip of the drink and tried to keep a neutral face as she replied, "There's nothing wrong with it." Really? They went that far to cover up for each other? Whatever. I had a date with Ben tonight to prepare for anyway. That night as planned, I arrived at Ben's house with a somewhat wilting pot plant for Mrs. Megan. I was kinda excited to finally have a cooked meal. Only, when I walked into the kitchen, I couldn't smell anything cooking. Mrs. Megan appeared and rubbing her hand said, "Lexi, you don't mind cooking, do you? It's just been a long week of drawing diagrams. My hand kinda aches." Seeing the situation, Ben immediately came to help, but she reminded him that he'd agreed to fix a pipe or something. To be honest, I'd never touched a frying pan before. But I mean, how hard could it be? I'd make pancakes, though it's not really suitable for dinner, but I'd seen them on a 5-minute crafts and they were clearly a breeze to make. Only, it didn't go to plan. In situations like this, it's important not to panic. But Yeah, I panicked. I needed a plan B. Quick! In a rush, I threw away all the evidence of the failed pancakes and ordered food online. After all, thanks to my workaholic parents, this was my forte. I instructed the delivery person to come to the back door, so Ben and Mrs. Megan would be none the wiser. Expectedly, at the very first bite, Ben and my mother-in-law praised me profusely for my food, and Ben even joked that I should join the next season of Master Chef. Yo, I will rate this restaurant 5 stars for sure. Mrs. Megan suddenly dropped her spoon, so I quickly bent down to pick it up, only she leaned down and whispered sarcastically, "I order from Sydney's too. Their sauces are divine." Oh, busted! Then, halfway through the night, this man showed up and apologized for being late. Turns out he was Jim, Faye's father, but Faye wasn't coming over as she was out with friends. Happy days! I watched Mrs. Megan and him touch a tissue box at the same time by mistake, and then blushed? Huh? Oh, I get it. She liked him. Now it made sense why she was always sucking up to Faye. Have you thought about remarrying? I asked Jim innocently. To the waiting eyes of me, as well as Mrs. Megan, he hesitantly answered, I don't think Faye would like that. Mrs. Megan glumly stared down at the floor. Okay, so I actually felt kinda sorry for her. Besides, matchmaking has always been my hobby, so I decided to help her. I knew that Faye was at a party on Saturday night, so I decided this was the perfect opportunity to play Cupid. I told Mrs. Megan that Jim had something to tell her, so meet him at the Golden Reef restaurant at 7 p.m. Then I told Jim the same. I stood behind a column and watched them share their starter, and then give each other gooey-eyed glances. Then Jim reached out and took Mrs. Megan's hand. They were looking at each other passionately when Faye suddenly rushed in from nowhere and angrily slammed her bag on the table. So this is it? My teacher and my dad? For real?
Faye, why are you here?
Jim stuttered. No one can ever replace Mom! Then she turned to a dumbfounded-looking Mrs. Megan. Turns out you were only being nice to me to get my dad. You're fake. Stay away from us. Mrs. Megan covered her face with her hands, then quickly left. Geez, Faye was brutal. And however annoying Mrs. Megan was, she didn't deserve that. You! Faye shouted. Uh-oh. Her gaze fixed on me. It figures you'd be behind this. Keep your big nose out of our family business and start caring about yours instead. Guess this is what lack of parental care does to a kid. I stared at her speechless. Those words should have driven me mad, but for some reason, I only felt sad. And so guilty. I really just meant well. So, first thing at school the next day, I swallowed my pride and went to Mrs. Megan's classroom, where she looked lost in thought as she marked homework. I coughed to clear my throat, then said, Miss, I'm sorry. I honestly was trying to help, but now I realize I should have minded my own business. I'm also sorry for being a jerk in your class. She was silent at first, then replied, It's okay, as I've come to realize that you and I aren't so different. We both have complications in the way of finding love. Guess it's really not easy to get approval from your parents' family, huh? She smiled and gently stroked my hair before continuing. You're such a smart and kind girl, and I always knew you could do better in class, that I must have been too harsh on you. I'm sorry, too. I smiled back at her, and at that moment, I felt like all of our previous conflicts melted away. And I realized that I shouldn't neglect my studies. Instead, I should work hard to become the best version of myself. So, with a lot of hard work, I went from trailing at the bottom of the class to reaching the top spot, even overtaking Faye. Ha! Speaking of Faye, she was still ignoring both me and Mrs. Megan, and never put her hand up in class anymore. But then a rainbow flame experience in the chem lab changed things. Everyone ran out of there when the curtain caught on fire, except for a terrified Faye. Luckily, Mrs. Megan rushed inside to rescue her just in time and covered her with a jacket as she led her to safety. After that, Faye realized that Mrs. Megan is a good person who cares about both her and Jim. So, through blurry eyes, Faye sobbed out, "Thank you so much, and sorry, I was too childish. Please forgive me." A few months later. So, yeah, you see, my wing woman plan worked, and now I have a second family, a really big one. But you know what's the best thing? That is, I no longer have to order food online anymore, 'cause I will stick to here, and my mother-in-law will cook for me. "Lisa! Lisa! Wait up!" I slowed down, then turned around and smiled at Emily as she hurried to catch up with me. "Well, spit it out. What hot tea do you get this time?" "Lisa, you are not going to believe this. Eden likes you." I raised an eyebrow. "Huh? You're kidding, right?" "No." She furiously shook her head. "It's true. Yesterday afternoon, after school, I passed by the basketball court, and I overheard the boys talking about it." I think the likelihood is you heard wrong, my friend." As I continued on my way to school, I couldn't stop thinking about Emily's words, as if Eden Woodson, the most popular boy in the entire school, would like me? Impossible! Had we even spoken to each other? Oh yeah, once. In the library, he asked to borrow my pen. Not to mention, his last girlfriend, Sarah, was the captain of the cheerleading squad. So, yep, you can already tell how pretty and popular she was. They only split up because she moved away. Well, look at me. Talent? Well, my coordination is 0, thanks to being short-sighted. Pretty? Nope. And my Coke bottle glasses don't help in this department. The only thing I was okay at was studying, which is why I was assigned the role of class president. Think fast. A cheerleader versus a class president? See? Figured. Throughout the day, Emily wouldn't quit insisting that what she'd heard was correct. Ugh, I know she meant well, but didn't she realize how humiliating this was for me? Even if she did hear Eden say that, he was probably just kidding around. Emily, please stop. I just want to take these tests in Mrs. Pierce's classroom, then go home. But Lisa... I gave her my best I'm being serious look, so she let out a defeated sigh, nodded, then walked away from me. Finally, peace at last. I dropped the tests off, then as I was walking back along the corridor, I saw Eden leaning against his locker as he talked to a boy on the basketball team. For some reason, curiosity got the best of me, so instead of walking past them, I found myself ducking behind the corner and eavesdropping on their conversation. "So, what else are you still waiting for? Talk to her." "I really want to, but I don't know." As if the most popular boy in school is dumbstruck by some girl. Who are they talking about? Could it be me? No way. Lisa, please wake up and stop being so delusional. Fact. Boys like Eden would never lay an eye on girls like you. The next morning at school, I walked into class to see the boys, including Eden, chatting about last night's NBA score or something. Only Eden wouldn't quit staring at me. Did I have something on my face? My eyes met his, and then he immediately turned away and resumed the conversation with his friends like nothing happened. Huh? What did that mean? Then, during chemistry class, I kept sensing this strange feeling coming from behind. So by instinct, I turned around to check. And surprise, surprise, I saw Eden looking at me. But just like earlier, as soon as our gazes met, he stared down at his book. Okay, so that was weird. While I was thinking about his strange behavior, Emily suddenly nudged my arm. "See, I told you he likes you. You should tell him you like him, too, before it's too late." No thanks. But what do you mean by too late? I heard that Sarah, his ex is coming back. Her parents divorced or something. So what? Come on, Lisa. He likes you. But I don't like him. As soon as I finished talking, I saw the teacher glancing straight at me. Oh no, busted! He made me stand up in front of everyone and answer a question. But of course, I hadn't been listening, so I just stood there doing this open-mouthed goldfish look, then frantically looked around to find some help with the answer. And when I peered over at Eden, oh great, he was grinning at me. This was so embarrassing. That night, I lay in bed and got lost in thoughts about Eden. Okay, so I know I told Emily I didn't like him. It's just that I still didn't believe that someone like him could have a crush on someone like me. Curious, I spent the whole evening stalking Eden's social media account. Not gonna lie, he was indeed really cute. There were loads of pics of him watching basketball matches with his little bro, pulling goofy faces with his friends, and spending time with his family at the beach. So there were also a few pics of him with his ex, and I noticed that she'd commented on some of his recent stuff. I really wished I was brave enough to start a conversation with him, or to even ask him if he still kept in touch with his ex-girlfriend. But that would be weird, wouldn't it? But then, guess what? To my utter disbelief, the next morning, my homeroom teacher walked in, and following her was... Sarah? Oh no, I should have listened to Emily on this one. So did this mean Eden would get back with her? All day long, Sarah clung onto Eden. So it wasn't long before the rumors started buzzing around school that the dream couple was back together. Not only was this bad enough to deal with, but I also had to put up with Emily's I told you so looks. Whatever. The two of them dating had nothing to do with me, right? They could do what they wanted, and I was just going to carry on with my life. But, geez, this Sarah girl needed to stop spamming everyone's timeline with all these old photos when she and Eden were still in love. Not to mention the cheesy, cringy captions. Okay, I guess my heart ached a little. But anyway, I knew I shouldn't care about them. Only, it soon became pretty obvious that Sarah was bothered by me. Every time she passed me in the corridor, she glanced at me and sneered. Huh? Why the attitude? I barely knew the girl. Then one time, I was heading over to the cafeteria when someone shoved me from behind, causing me to fall face first on the ground. Confused, I quickly fumbled for my glasses. Huh? What was that sound? Then suddenly, I heard Emily scream out, Lisa, you just stepped on your glasses! Oh no. Now how was I supposed to live without my glasses? Emily had to guide me back to class, and that day, I could only listen to the lectures because I couldn't see well enough to take notes. By the end of the day, I was fed up and just wanted to go home. I was about to ask Emily to help me walk home, so I didn't end up getting flattened by a bus or something. But before I could ask her, she packed up at lightning speed, said bye, then hurried out of there. Haze, how thoughtful was my dear bestie? Great. Guess I would just have to navigate my way home alone somehow. It took me ages just to get from the classroom to the school gate. Then I almost bumped into someone. But fortunately, there was a hand that pulled me back. You okay? Came a familiar voice. Eden? Is that you? I asked. Yeah, I'm here, and I'm not having your death on my conscience, so I'm walking you home. He took my hand. Eek! My heart somersaulted. Then he led me to the nearby glasses store so I could buy a new pair. After that, he still insisted on walking me home, though, and on the way, we talked loads, mainly about our families and our love of indie movies. Still, I couldn't help but have Sarah at the back of my mind. I just wanted to ask him about their relationship, but now wasn't the right time, right? A few days later, during a math test, I felt something hit my back, then fall to the ground. So I picked it up, but before I could see what it was, the teacher quickly walked over, grabbed it, and opened it. Turns out, it was some of the answers to the test. Oh no! I tried explaining myself, but he told me I would get detention and was not allowed to take the test anymore. What? I couldn't get an F on my math test. It would ruin both my transcript and my college application record. I cried out to him that this wasn't fair, when suddenly Eden stood up and said, "Sir, it was my sheet, not Lisa's." So both of us ended up being banned from taking the test, and the teacher believed that because I picked the note up, I was still just as guilty. I didn't think this day could get any worse. Oh, how wrong I was. During recess, I was rearranging my books in my locker when Sarah approached me. "Hey, how dare you let Eden take the blame for your actions? As class president, you should be totally ashamed of yourself." "What are you talking about?" "Your innocent routine may fool Eden, but you aren't fooling me. You wait and see, as I still have bigger plans coming for you." "Bigger? What other plans did you have?" "Huh? Am I missing something?" Stop ruining things between Eden and me, else I won't let it slide next time." What was that about? Why was Sarah blaming me? Jeez, this whole situation was crazy. After school, Eden and I had to stay behind for an extra hour for detention. Luckily, our homeroom teacher knew that neither of us would cheat, as we were both exemplary students. So that punishment was just a warning. Then, on our way out of the classroom, I asked him, "I know that paper wasn't yours, so why did you help me?" "Well, I knew it wasn't yours either. I saw Sarah throw it at you." "Sarah?" "Yeah, she was behind breaking her glasses too." "She pushed me? But why?" It was me. I'm sorry. She did that because she knows I like you." What? Did I mishear him? Eden just said that he likes me? "Lisa, I like you. I have for a long time. Do you want to go out with me sometime?" There was an awkward pause as I soaked up his words. He really likes me. Oh, wow. This was bonkers. I gave this huge smile. Then I nodded at him and spluttered out, "Yeah, I'd like that." So, after that, we started dating. But this didn't go too well with Sarah. One afternoon, I was walking across the schoolyard when Sarah appeared and shot me this dirty look, which I ignored. Suddenly, she pushed my shoulder, sneered, and then left. I quickly straightened myself up, then shouted after her, "Hey, Sarah! I never got a chance to thank you!" Sarah immediately turned around and gave me a puzzled look. "You know, for getting Eden and me together? Sincerely, thank you, our matchmaker." Then I smiled and left. I'm pretty sure that she was still standing there at me with fiery eyes. But hey, she pranked me first, right? Oh well, karma. Anyway, I just want to let you all know that if you like someone, then don't put yourself down. Instead, be confident and brave enough to tell them how you feel. Because not everyone is lucky enough to have an expert matchmaker like Sarah around to help.
Oh, I've never been in a negotiation that lasted this long before. I've been here since 3, and it's now 8. Worse still, I hadn't even mentioned the funding yet. I've tried, but it was Dane's fault. He kept on interrupting me and going off topic. As I looked at Dane, who was currently reenacting a soccer game with condiments, I wondered how on earth was he a part of the student council. He might have been a senior, but he was an average grade student who didn't seem to excel at anything. He also exaggerated everything and mainly just messed around. I should never have agreed with Dane to arrange the meeting here. Not only had I wasted 5 hours of my life, but it looked like the funding was a no deal. I couldn't take any more of this. Remind me never to listen to Dane ever again. I grabbed my bag and was about to stand up when Mr. Johnson turned to me. Ruth, I love your idea. Funding all of it would be a bit of a stretch, but I can go to 80%. And if it becomes a yearly thing, I'll be happy to continue sponsoring it. I stared at him open-mouthed. Did I hear him right? Mr. Johnson, the owner of the local music shop, was actually agreeing to provide a big chunk of the funding for our student talent show? By the way, I like this Dane guy. Today's been fun. Dane wooed, "Yes, it's a dealio," and enthusiastically shook Mr. Johnson's hand. Wait, I was supposed to be the one to close the deal. Never mind. We had the funding. This was amazing. We did it! Dane punched the air. Hey, how did you? He gave a Cheshire cat grin as he replied, "Never expected that, did you? What do you think of me now, Ruth the new president?" I shrugged and laughed. Hey, how about a celebratory hug, huh? He lunged at me with open arms. Well, why not? This deserved a celebration after all. We were jumping up and down, and I don't know, maybe I was delirious from the stupidly long meeting or something. But the next thing I knew, we were kissing. OMG! We immediately pulled away from each other and awkwardly looked the other way. After that, he drove me home in silence. Oh no, what was I thinking? Why did I, or anyone breathing, do that? It was Dane. Dane! Can you believe it? Well, okay, I suppose it'd been a difficult couple of months for me. As soon as I became president of the student council, my boyfriend Walter didn't congratulate me. No, instead he broke up with me. We'd been together for 2 years, but recently he'd spoken about marriage and buying a house. Not yet. I want to focus on my career first. But I guess me applying to the students' council and being all busy bee with work frustrated him even more. Now, I tried to distract myself with studying and council work, but I felt like I was getting ever closer to the edge of a cliff, one with hungry sharks circling the bottom. Ugh! And then there were the rumors being spread around school about me. Ruth's just a freshman. She won't be able to hack the pressure. And Ruth's so serious and boring. So I started working harder and harder to prove myself. Hence the talent show project. Only, geez, I was so exhausted, both mentally and physically. This funding news was fantastic. But what was going on with Dane? Maybe he has some kind of secret power of attraction or something. Anyway, after that incident, he flooded me with calls and messages, even though I was crazy busy. After the 12th call in a row, I stopped writing my essay and answered with an annoyed, "What? Hey there, how are you feeling about the weather today? My name is Ruth, not there, and I don't care about the weather, I'm busy." Busy enough to correct my words like that? I don't think so. Ugh, fine. I agreed to go out for a quick coffee with him just so he'd stop bugging me. I stirred my spoon around my coffee as I glared at him and said, "Will you stop calling me? I need to study." He stuffed the majority of his muffin into his mouth and took ages to chew it. Then he wiped his mouth onto the back of his arm and said, "You do realize all the other council members call you Military Ruth, right? Try not to be so difficult and chillax once, will you?" Wow, that sucked. I didn't expect to be liked by everyone, but I was working my butt off for the council, so they could at least appreciate what I was doing for them. I cleared my throat. I don't care. Work is work. I didn't become the president to make friends. But I know you're not like that, Dane continued. You might be going through a tough time. Still, you're the most stunning person I've ever met. My face brightened up, even blushed. What did he just say? You're beautiful, strong, and independent. He reached out and took my hand, and I tried to ignore the fact it was sticky from his muffin. Ew. I must be the luckiest guy ever to date a girl like you, Ruth. Those other girls are just jealous of you. I mean, you have this hunk, and they don't. Hold up. He said what? Date? I gave him a disgusted, "Who do you think you are?" look. Reading my expression, his face dropped. Oh, I thought there was something between us. I froze for a few seconds. Was I being too harsh? I mean, he was totally sweet saying those words earlier. Fine, listen carefully. I'll hang out with you. Not dating. But you have to promise, swear, that you'll never, ever tell anyone about it. I don't know. I mean, he was so immature and annoying, but I guess he was also kind of fun to be around. He made me laugh, and I liked that. All I did was work, work, work. And perhaps that was why Walter broke up with me, wasn't it? Maybe when I hang out with Dane, I should practice being less serious. One Sunday, when we were having brunch at a random cafe of his choice, I asked about his graduation coming up that summer and his plan. Honestly, I haven't thought any further than finishing my freshman year, he said between chewing on his sandwich. How about you? He asked. Well, I want to go to an Ivy League college for a master, of course, preferably Dartmouth, and study social science. Then I want to work for the government, but high up, you know, like a managing role, and really make an impact, you know? Dane shrugged after I finished. Yeah, nice plan. And kept digging in his food. I felt weird. Was I being unrealistic? Or was it just Dane's point of view? But to have a happy relationship, maybe it's best to compromise and accept the differences, right? I snapped myself back into the now. If this whole thing with Dane hadn't happened, I would still be in anguish and despair. It was strange, but I did feel better around him, unlike with Walter. So I should respect his opinions. Gotta learn from my mistake, right? One day, I was at a council meeting planning a fundraiser for the remainder of the talent show money. I decided it was time people saw the real Dane, so I made him event organizer. But this didn't go down well. As in the other council members' eyes, Dane was a lazy, idiotic puppet. Give him a chance. He's the one who persuaded Mr. Johnson to fund the talent show. Please, we never know other people's limits and abilities. Then, this girl Catherine sarcastically said, Of course you'd know his ability since he's your boyfriend. You suck at leading. All you care about is your personal feelings. I know. I'll date you. Then I may actually get given a job I deserve. My tongue was tied. I couldn't find a word to defend myself. And at the same time, I was really, really mad at Dane. And worse still, he hadn't even bothered showing up for the meeting. Afterward, I went round to Dane's house and furiously banged on the door. Yelled at him the moment he opened it. How come people know that we've been hanging out? Dane silently scratched his head, eyes open wide, and stared awkwardly at some random spot. Answer me! I continued, but still no reply. I pointed my finger at his face. I just went through a hurricane of rage in a meeting with the council to put you in charge of the fundraiser event. And you didn't even bother showing up. You better do an amazing job, else we'll both be dead. Then I stormed off. Over the next few days, the rumors continued to circulate about me. Clearly, Dane had been bragging to everyone that he'd managed to score himself a stiff girl like me. That I was no tigress, more like a lovely kitten. Now everyone was staring and laughing at me, and made meow sounds at me in the corridors. Someone even filled my seat in the council room with cat food. This was horrible to deal with. But instead of supporting me, Dane went rogue from school for a full week. He also didn't arrange the venue for the fundraiser, meaning we had to reschedule the event. I was left looking bad, so the teacher gave me a lecture on responsibility and strongly advised me to leave the student council. So that's what I did. Catherine's in charge now. After that, I couldn't face school, so I locked myself away in my room and cried as I thought back to all the things that had happened. First, Walter left me. Then everyone else on the council mocked me. Then I lost my position on the council I worked hard for because I put my trust in the wrong person. Ugh, Dane. What he did hurt the most, as he was exactly what others described him as, childish and insensitive. I was torn between never wanting to see him again and also missing him like crazy. Now I had no one. I felt so alone. Ugh, darn it. Loneliness sucked. So when he called me, I answered. He told me he was outside my house. I guess I should at least hear him out, right? Hey, beautiful, listen. He grabbed my hand and looked straight into my eyes. It doesn't matter, okay? The council, the president position, those people don't matter. The most important thing is you being happy, and I'm gonna make you happy. I wanted so much to believe his words. So I let him take me out. We ended up in this noisy restaurant with singing waiting staff. He found it hilarious, but I felt so uncomfortable. Then on the way back, he dragged me into this arcade and left me so he could go on the zombie killing game. As I watched him spin around then shoot, I realized how different we were. I guess I was holding on to him because I'd lost everything else. Who was I anymore? I felt like a stranger to myself. This wasn't me, and Dane wasn't right for me. He rushed over to me and excitingly clung onto my arm. Ruth, come see my high score. I shook my head and quietly said, It's over. I pulled my arm free and walked off. After that, I kept to myself, and at school, avoided Dane and my former council members as much as possible. It did hurt when I saw the posters for the talent show around the school, but that wasn't my problem anymore. I did receive a message from Dane saying something about his graduation party, but I skipped it. The truth is, he's just not good for me. Life was a joke to him, and as a result of this, he left me feeling like I was a joke too. I felt so lost. So I'm going to spend the summer with my grandparents out in the country, away from everyone and everything. I need time to heal, so when I come back, I'll be strong, confident, and independent girl I once was. As I really do miss that version of me. Each one of us needs to learn how to overcome things by ourselves, without relying on others, especially when these others in question aren't any good for us.
I want to meet Mr. Garcia. It's important, I told the receptionist. She looked at me confused and said, Sorry, but no one under that name works here. What? But he's the company director. The receptionist gave me this bewildered look, then firmly said, I'm sorry, but no one under that name works in this company. Maybe you've got the wrong building. Fine. If she wouldn't help me, then I'd find him myself. Miss, wait! You're not authorized to go there! Unfortunately, I didn't get very far before 2 guards raced over and pulled me away. As I tried struggling free, I yelled out, This is ridiculous! I'm your director's girlfriend! Suddenly, a smart-looking man appeared in front of me and calmly said, Madam, are you looking for Austin Garcia? Yes, I nodded. The man sighed, then continued. Austin did work here, but I fired him months ago. I have no place for someone with such lazy, carefree attitude in my company. I stared at this man open-mouthed. Oh no, so he was the director, not Austin. So, my boyfriend had been lying to me from the start? When the guards led me out of the building, I saw people gawping at me, and I overheard one of them say, Oh my God, another gullible girl got scammed? This couldn't be happening to me. Austin was my super successful, rich and handsome boyfriend. There must have been some mistake. He couldn't possibly have scammed me. Could he? I was showing my housemate Sarah the amazing designer bag Austin bought me when he walked into the room and slouched onto the couch. Okay, so what was with his glum look? Babe, it's just that my company has this big project on. I invested $100,000 already, with a 5 times return expected by the end of the year. Wow, what a huge project. I felt so proud to have such a perfect boyfriend. But then he lowered his voice. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to bail on it. I widened my eyes and asked, "Why? What's up?" "I need to contribute another $50,000 by the end of the week, but I'm still $10,000 short." I blurted out, "I can help." He shook his head. "Babe, I can't expect you to do that. Besides, where would you find that amount of money from at such short notice?" "I'll borrow it from my friends or something. Don't you believe your girlfriend can do it?" I winked at him. He kissed my forehead and then, with a huge smile on his face, told me I was the best girlfriend ever. After I counted up my savings and student loan, I was still a few thousand short. So I told a couple of my friends that my parents had been in an accident and I needed money urgently to pay for their hospital fees. I know lying was lame, but I'd pay them back soon, so what would it matter, right? But then a week after I'd given Austin the money, he showed up at my house looking completely bummed out. He told me he'd met an unexpected problem and now he needed another $15,000, else he'd lose everything. I wanted to help him, but I had no one left to borrow money from. I thought he'd be understanding, but instead he just said, "You can borrow money from a loan shark. Then in a month, we can pay it back." I gave him a confused look and asked him why he didn't get the loan himself. He stroked my hair and in a soothing voice said, "I would if I could, Hannah, but you're a student, so your interest rates will be much lower than mine." That made sense. Plus, we were going to be together forever anyway. So what did it matter who took the loan out? So that same day, I borrowed the rest of the money from a loan shark and handed it over to Austin. "Hannah!" a voice shouted, which startled me from my thoughts. "Hannah, give me back my money. I need it urgently." My friend Rachel glared at me. I felt so flustered as I blurted out, "Soon. A few days, I promise." She rolled her eyes at me. "Yeah, whatever. Poof! I thought you had a rich boyfriend, right? Why don't you ask him to help you out?" I forced a smile and repeatedly told her I'd pay her back soon. This was so embarrassing, and now my friend hated me. Ugh! It was all that jerk Austin's fault. The truth was that as soon as I handed him the money, well, he disappeared. His online accounts, number, everything. All gone. I even found out that the house he claimed to be his was actually just some Airbnb rental. Oh, and the designer bag he bought me? Fake! The next day, I was walking to my lecture when I heard two girls talking to each other. Hannah owes people loads of money, but won't pay it back. Isn't she always boasting about having a boyfriend? I lowered my head and hurried past them. This was so humiliating. I needed to figure out a way of finding that jerk Austin and making him give me my money back. Oh, who could that be? Maybe it was Austin with a perfectly reasonable explanation for everything. I ran to the door and opened it. Oh, it's just some strange girl. "Where is Austin? Tell him to come out here now!" she yelled. "And you are?" "His victim. He tricked me into giving him all of my savings." She pushed past me and stormed inside. "Austin, stop hiding from me and come out!" I pulled the girl's arm and asked, "Hold up, he also tricked you?" She looked at me with wide eyes. Oh gosh, Austin's such a pro scammer. After that, we sat down and she explained everything. Turns out she's called Leah, and Austin scammed her out of $50,000. OMG, that was so much money. Austin is a real jerk. Suddenly, my housemate Sarah and her boyfriend Weston walked in. "Hey, look! I won this Tales of Suspense Volume 39 in the horse race bet the other day. You know, it's super rare." Weston was so excited showing Sarah his new precious comic book, while I forced a smile at them both, then quickly dragged Leah up to my room. There's no way I wanted Sarah knowing that I'd been scammed. Entering my room, Leah suddenly said, "Hey, do you want your money back?" I nodded. "Of course I do, but now I don't even know where he is." She gave me this sly smile as she told me how Austin adored the Marvel Universe, and that comic Weston had could be used to lure him in. So we went downstairs, waited for Sarah to go into the other room, then we asked Weston for his help. At first he refused, but then we offered to split the money with him 3 ways. Eventually Weston agreed, and so game on! Starting off, Weston posted it on a comic book marketplace for half the price it was worth. Only $150,000! Unsurprisingly, it wasn't long before that snake Austin slithered into his messages. Great! We arrived at the meeting spot super early and hid behind a bush. 30 minutes later, and Austin still hadn't shown up, and I had a dead arm. Ouch! I whispered to Leah, "Do you think our plan was leaked?" She grabbed my shoulder and shushed me. Austin had arrived. He took ages to check the book, really carefully. When they finished the exchange, I jumped out of the bush and shouted, "Austin, there you are! Where's my money?" His eyes widened in terror, and he quickly tried to run off the other way. But Leah jumped out in front of him. She sneered and rolled up her sleeves, stepping towards him. "There is nowhere for you to run, jerk!" Austin was terrified and stepped back. Then I ran up behind him and snatched the comic out of his hand. "Girls, look! He turned pale and immediately turned and hurried away. He even lost a shoe en route, but he didn't dare to stop to pick it up. It was so hilarious watching him hobble off. Thank you so much, Leah. It felt so good to get revenge. Anytime. We clinked our glasses together. Girl power and all. Ugh, my head hurts so bad. Where's Leah? I guess she must have gone home. I went over to my closet. Where's the backpack with my money in it? I frantically turned my room upside down looking for it. Could it be? I called Leah, but there was no answer. That was it. Leah and Austin were definitely the same. Why did I have to be such a gullible idiot? There was a loud banging on the door, so I opened it. 2 huge guys were standing there.
"Hey, beautiful. Pay us back soon, or else."
Then they left. I freaked out, not knowing what to do. Find Leah and Austin? It's futile. I know it. So I started working like crazy. I delivered newspapers and milk in the mornings, then waitressed most evenings. I was so exhausted, but I had to find a way to pay off my debt before I drowned in it. Then one morning, Sarah came downstairs to find me asleep, face down on my piece of toast. She gently shook me awake, then told me she'd got me a paid intern job at her uncle's hospital. Yay! Thanks, Sarah. You're the best. The first day at my new job went well, so I decided to reward myself with a bagel and hot chocolate in the canteen. That's when I walked straight past her. Leah! She spotted me, too, and ran off, but I chased her into a dead end. Where's my money? I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, she sobbed out. Then she told me how the night that we'd been celebrating, she'd received some bad news. Her brother was in an accident and needed emergency surgery. Panicked, she took the money for his hospital bills. Are you tricking me? This is 100% true. She wiped at her tears. Maybe I felt a little bit sorry for her. But no, what she did wasn't cool. Besides, she could be lying to me. I mean, I did also use the ill relative's excuse to get money off my friends. So I dragged her to reception to check. Turns out she's telling the truth. Her brother is in a coma and the bills are obviously very expensive. What Leah did sucks, but she's all her brother has. So I guess I can kinda understand why she did that. So it looks like I've got to continue working my butt off for now. That weekend, I was about to leave for work when I opened the door to see those thugs back again. They shoved past me and started picking up valuables. I shouted at them to stop and that I'd get their money to them soon, but they didn't listen to me. Then they picked up Sarah's laptop. no! Right at that moment, Leah showed up and demanded they stop right now. Then she proceeded to pay them what I owed them. Huh? What? How did she have the money? Well, it turns out Leah's brother woke up from his coma. They talked, and she found out his specific research had just won first prize in a nationwide competition. So he gave her the prize money and told her to pay off my debt. I was so ecstatic. I flung my arms around her and kept on saying thank you. Now I was debt-free. Phew! I could finally pay my friends back and put all of this behind me. Huh? What was that? We both looked outside. Isn't that Austin? But why does he look so frazzled? Oh, turns out 5 angry-looking girls are chasing after him. I looked at Leah, then we both burst out laughing. And that, guys, is karma. Who put those books on the upper shelf? And why were my clothes in the closet reorganized? Did she seriously go into my room and rearrange my stuff? Unbelievable! Avery, dinner's ready. Okay, Dad, wait a sec. My dad shouted back. What's taking you so long? Come down now. Dinner is getting cold. Okay, I'm coming. As I walked into the kitchen, I gave her a resentful look. What were you doing? You know dinner's always at 6. Well, that's because she went into my room and reorganized everything. It was like Hurricane Katrina stopped by my room. I had to put everything back where it was. You must be wondering why I had this attitude towards my mom. Well, first, she isn't my mom. She's my stepmom. And second, I just couldn't stand her. You see, my parents divorced when I was 15. And after just 6 months, my dad started dating Rose. My first impressions weren't great. I mean, look at her. Okay, she's kind of beautiful, but her style just doesn't fit her age. She has this whole wannabe rocker thing going on. No, I'm serious. She even has a tank top that says, "I'm a rocker mom." My actual mom was the total opposite of Rose. She looks how a mom's meant to, with her elegant clothes and polite demeanor, and that's also how she raised me to be. Then there's the age difference. Rose is a decade younger than Dad. Suspicious? What if she was only after his money? I thought they wouldn't last, but then 1 year later, they announced that they were getting married. So, yeah, you can see where my hate was coming from. That's enough of me telling you about my family. Let's go back to this boring dinner. My dad just gently said, "Rose was just helping you. She didn't mean it. Now let's dig in. This smells delicious, honey." Ugh, whatever. I rolled my eyes and sat at the table. I looked down and couldn't believe my eyes. It was spinach and sausage lasagna, Mom's signature dish. How dare Rose copy it? First, she rearranged my room, and now she wanted to replace my mom? Talk about a real-life evil stepmom. No way I was going to eat that. So I stood up, said I wasn't hungry, and started walking off. Dad stood up and was about to yell at me, but Rose stopped him. Whatever. I still ran upstairs and slammed my door shut. The next day, when I came home from school, I saw that Rose had a few friends over for beer and pizza in the living room. Look at them. They looked like they were having a band meeting. Normally, women their age have tea parties, not fast food fests. "Hey, Avery." Rose greeted me. I just ignored her and went upstairs. But suddenly, I heard one of her friends say, "What a stubborn kid. Doesn't she have manners? If I were you, I would show the kid who's the boss around here." Jesus, her friends were awful just like her. Whatever, I didn't care what they said. But then Rose replied, "Hey, don't talk about her like that. Avery's a lovely girl. She's just had a lot going on the past 2 years. Every child would behave the same after their parents' divorce, don't they? She just needs a little time adjusting." Oh, wow. I didn't expect those words coming from Rose. She actually stood up for me? maybe, just maybe, I've misjudged her. Maybe I should try and give her a fairer chance? So that evening, when I saw her watching a movie, I walked over with a big bowl of popcorn and asked if I could join her. Rose looked shocked, like she'd seen a ghost or something. Then she gave me a big smile and said, "Of course, I would really love that." I sat down next to her, and we watched Mad Max together. Oh, wow. There was a lot of violence and some weird-looking characters. Normally, I don't watch these kinds of films. I'm more of a rom-coms girl. But that movie was really, interesting. We talked during it, and I must say Rose is actually kinda cool. We were both laughing when I heard someone coughing behind me. I turned around to see my mom standing there with a frown on her face. "Avery? Why didn't you return my calls and messages?" "Oh, I haven't introduced my mom to you yet. This is my beautiful mom, Melanie. She's a kind, gentle, elegant woman, and also a bit disciplined. But that's okay. I still love my mom very much." "Mom? What are you doing here?" "I called you a dozen times, but you didn't answer. Clearly, you're preoccupied. I got worried, so I swung by to check on you." "Oh, sorry, Mom. Rose and I were having so much fun that I didn't notice my phone." My mom knitted her brows and asked, "Are we still on for shopping tomorrow? You need a new outfit for the debate contest, right?" "Yeah, of course. I will meet you at the mall after school." "Oh, you two are going shopping? That's so cool. Can I join?" At that moment, I thought, what a great idea. I mean, so far, they seem to get along okay. But what I didn't know was that a war between my mom and my stepmom had just launched. Rose gave me an excited smile, but Mom, on the other hand, didn't look so thrilled. Maybe she was still mad that I missed her calls? So the next day after school, I went outside and saw my mom standing by her car. Oh, was she waiting for me? I was about to walk toward her when I suddenly noticed she was giving dirty looks to someone. Oh my God, Rose was waiting on the other side of the street. I quickly jumped behind some bushes to hide from them. Don't tell me the two were here to pick me up. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Mom. There's no way I was deciding between them, so I told her I was already on my way to the mall. Ugh. Now, let's talk about my fun family day out at the mall. It was a disaster. My mom and Rose have very different style, obvs, so my mom chose this elegant black vest and skirt for me, but Rose thought I looked like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. No offense, she's a badass who brought justice to women, but Rose was kinda right. That outfit just didn't work for me. Then Rose chose this red dress for me. But, oh man, that's kinda revealing. They were constantly dragging me from this shop to the other like they were playing tug of war. And I was the freaking rope. I couldn't handle it anymore. Therefore, I just chose any dress so they'd stop throwing clothes in my face. On the way out of the mall, we passed a piercing shop. I've been wanting a helix piercing at the upper cartilage of my ear. They look so cool. I asked Mom, but she profusely refused. Her own words were, "It would make you look rebellious." Mom was still strict as always. Nonsense. Rose snorted. "Melanie, Avery's old enough to make her own decisions. If she wants a piercing, then let her." Then she turned to me and said, "Come, I will take you inside." Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I glanced at Mom, and she looked like she was about to explode with anger. But Rose had a point. I'm already 16 for crying out loud. After 15 minutes, Rose and I came out. Oh, thank God. Did you reconsider getting that ear piercing? Oh, yeah. Rose said that a nose piercing would suit me better. What? Uh-oh. Maybe the nose piercing wasn't such a good idea, because the tension between them was now catastrophic. I needed a way to bring them together. So I came up with a brilliant plan. I arranged a holiday in Brazil for us all. I have a friend there, Pedro. He was an exchange student at my school, so he could show us around. Dad was in on the plan. At the last minute, he pretended to be busy and canceled his spot. perfect. Now Rose and Mom would have plenty of bonding time. As soon as we walked into the hotel lobby, they started fighting over who got to share a room with me. What's wrong with them? We just landed in Brazil. So I took the keys from the receptionist and told them they were sharing, 'cause I'll be by myself. Then in the evening, after we all got some rest, I waited for them in the lobby. Man, what's taking them so long? Suddenly, I saw two women walking over, and they were pushing each other. My God, it was Rose and Mom. I tried to keep calm and said, "Jesus, can you two please stop acting like kindergarten kids?" Mom sneered. "Well, Rose over here took a 45-minute shower while I urgently needed to use the bathroom. You know how sensitive my stomach is." Rose rolled her eyes. "That's because I have a strict beauty routine to follow. At least you got some sleep. I didn't, thanks to your bulldozer snoring." "I certainly did not." Then they began to stare off like two UFC fighters. I shouted, "Enough already! Listen up. I just made a dinner reservation for you two to get to know each other better. I have plans with Pedro, so I'll catch you both later." They were about to refuse, but I gave them this really intense look. "Well, at least you're having fun. You two should hit a bar. Nothing can top some Brazilian bars." "No drinking, and be back by 10 p.m. tops." Yeah, I know. Have fun." I waved at them and left the hotel. The next morning, I saw them talking to each other. Actually talking, not bickering. So I walked over to them and asked, "Well, how was dinner?" Then they told me it was actually really great. They were able to put their differences aside and got along. Success! So now I could enjoy the rest of the trip. After breakfast, Pedro came by to take us on a hiking trip in the forest. It was so wonderful. The fresh air, the birds singing. Well, maybe except for the heat and the mosquitoes. Pedro wanted to bring us to this spot he said was perfect for watching the sunset. Awesome! It was all going well at first, but then as Rose avoided a tree branch, it accidentally hit my mom. "My God, you hit me on purpose, didn't you?" "What? That's absurd. I was just avoiding the branch." "Oh, please, as if." "Are you saying that I'm lying?" "Hey, guys, stop it. Let's be more understanding and talk things out. Like how you did it last night, okay?" That's when I found out that they were just pretending to be friends so that I didn't set up any more dinners for them. Oh my God, unbelievable! After their friendship act was exposed, they began speed hiking, like they were in a competition or something. But yep, after only 15 minutes, they were exhausted and couldn't even stand straight anymore. I began to shout at them. "This is great! Your dumb feud is ruining my vacation!" Then I walked away to avoid them, but of course, not too far. As I walked, I tried to think of another plan to get them close. Then I realized I'd wandered further away from the group. Okay, Avery, don't panic. Pedro had given me a map of the forest. I just needed to get to that marked X. It sounded easy. Trust me, it wasn't. I walked for hours and still couldn't find the spot. Oh no. It was getting dark, and I was totally exhausted. I sat on the ground and couldn't hold back my tears. I was about to lose hope when I suddenly heard Rose and Mom's voices. Oh, great! I was lost and could still hear them arguing in my head. I must be losing my mind. But wait. Suddenly, they appeared from behind some trees. It was really them. I couldn't believe it. I ran into their arms and gave them both the biggest hug ever and cried like a baby. Before we went to the airport to head home, Pedro came to say goodbye. Thanks for the hiking trip and also carrying out my plan. No problem. Your plan was definitely crazy, but it totally worked. After you went missing, they actually teamed up to find you. They helped one another when one tripped down or got exhausted and kept each other motivated. Pedro grinned at me, then continued. I too was freaking out when I didn't see you at our meeting point. Luckily, I still found you. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that pretending to be lost was a part of my plan, but what I didn't expect was to actually get lost. Thank God for Pedro. And you know what? After that incident, my mom and Rose grew close. Actually, a bit too close, I think. They even sometimes hang out without me. Can you believe it? Turns out, even though they have two very different personalities and styles, they still have one big thing in common. They both love me. Hey! Been trying to find you at school today. I have big news, and it's bad. Real bad! Don't leave me hanging. Mom says we're defo moving to California by the end of the month. What? No way! That's a 2-day drive from here. Yeah, I know. But Mom's marrying David. The same David that's scared of spiders, cockroaches, and everything? Yeah, that guy. He's been trying to get her attention for ages, sending her flowers, playing the guitar on her porch. Then last week, he even climbed up the oak tree so he could hand her flowers through the bedroom window. Okay, that's kind of creepy. Ew. Tell me about it. But you know, the worst part is, I have to transfer to another school. No. Lisa couldn't move away. Who would I sit with at lunch? Who would I watch corny movies with? Ugh, we've been besties for years. We couldn't just be separated like this. No one would ever understand me like she did. We were like two halves of a whole. Her dad had passed away, so she only had her mom, while I only had my dad. And yep, that's my amazing dad. It's been just me and him for the past 10 years. I still remember that afternoon when my mom took her suitcase and left with another man. After that, me and Dad moved back here to our hometown, New Hampshire. It's only when I got a little older that I found out Mom and her lover scammed Dad out of everything. So Dad's been working his butt off to open his own repair garage to provide for us both ever since. It isn't fair. My dad's a hero, and he deserves to be with a better woman. Hold on. Yes, he deserves a better one. And who wouldn't be better than Lisa's mom? I needed to tell Lisa about my plan right now, so I immediately ran to my room and phoned her. Girl, I have the most genius plan ever to keep you and your mom here with me. Please, I'm all ears. Anything. I really don't want to move to Cali. Okay, listen. Let's set your mom up with my dad. He's a good guy, and that means we'll be sisters. We both squealed excitedly. Lisa always wanted to have a dad. A nice one, not that David creep. Ugh! I could see the envy in her eyes when I spoke about the funny pranks I played on my dad. Well, in contrast, my heart ached whenever she told me about the girly pamper days she had with her mom. Okay, first, research is important. We spent all night looking up their horoscopes, name astrology calculator, and even physiognomy. Whoa, they're a 98% match! But hey, nothing is perfect, right? Me and Lisa would make up for the missing 2%. The next day, we were both zombies due to the lack of sleep. But at least a proper plan had been set. I told Lisa to tell her mom, Mary, to come around on Saturday for my birthday. Yeah, it's not actually my birthday, but she's a presenter for a big news channel, so she's super busy. We needed to make up some special occasion, so she couldn't say no. Then I told my dad to prepare his signature dish to welcome my special guests. There's no way Mary could resist. That day, I was helping Dad with the ingredients when I heard the doorbell. I opened the door to see Lisa standing there with a pink frosted birthday cake. And by her side was her mom. Happy birthday, sweetie. This one's for you. Oh, something smells good. And so familiar. She continued. Hello? Mary? Jack? Why are you here? For Erin's birthday. And you? I'm her father. And FYI, today isn't her birthday. Yeah, jerk, Mary said under her breath while rolling her eyes. Excuse me? You dumped me for no reason. So what's that attitude? Oh, really? For no reason? My eyes darted from Dad to Mary. Huh? Why were they yelling at each other? This was very confusing, but I could guess that they used to date? OMG, what a small world! Okay, whatever, 'cause it's lunchtime now. And wow, Dad's legendary meatloaf smelled amazeballs. We sat down, and Mary glared at Dad as she took a bite of food. Then she blurted out, "Oh wow, I guess some things never change, huh? Your food is still super salty." Oh really? But as I recall, someone still asked for seconds. Unbelievable. Excuse me, but do you know each other? Lisa innocently interrupted. There was an awkward silence. Then Dad said, "Yeah, we do. But this is the first time I've seen Mary since we broke up, right after I visited her studio for the first time." Mary looked flustered as she replied, "Lisa, you shouldn't have tricked me into coming here. Finish your food, then we're leaving." On hearing this, Dad ordered Lisa and me up to my room so he could talk to Mary in private. Only we hid behind the couch and listened in. Turns out, on that day, Mary took my dad to the studio to watch her first filming as a news presenter. After that, she'd passed by the waiting room and overheard Dad talking to someone. "I clearly heard that person ask you how I looked, and you said I was still the same old Mary. Do you have any idea that I spent 2 hours in makeup and was excited to show you?" Dad tried to chime in, but Mary wouldn't give him a sec. "Worse still, later you even told them you were over the moon I wouldn't be your girlfriend for much longer. Thus, to intercept that, I had to break up with you first." Oh my. So my dad was a playboy or something? Lisa and I swapped confused looks, then continued watching the show. My dad was dumbfounded, and then he said in a helpless voice, "Oh, Mary, things were not like that. I said that you look the same because you're always as beautiful as the day I met you. And about the other thing..." "Yeah?" I prepared a ring to propose to you, so you'd no longer be my girlfriend, but my wife." What? So they broke up because of an absurd misunderstanding and lost contact since then. Jeez, I thought adults were meant to know what they were doing. It sure didn't seem like it at times. Mary gave Dad an awkward smile, and they said that they could be friends. Then she told him about David and how she was marrying him on the 22nd of December. No! We couldn't let this happen. There had to be another way of getting them together. But that road was full of thorns and spikes, especially when Dad dropped a bombshell. His new girlfriend, Lucy. A few days later, when I was working on my art project, Dad walked into the room with her. Excuse me? She was wearing this super tight bodycon dress and had at least 7 layers of makeup on. Ugh. Then she even dared to pick up the photo of me with Mom and smirked. "Oh, how nice." I rushed over to her, snatched it out of her hands and shouted, "Keep off my things! I don't like you!" She immediately glared at me. But then seeing Dad coming down from upstairs, she suddenly smiled and hugged me while whispering in my ear, "You don't, but you have to." Jeez, what a poisonous snake. But worse, when she left, Dad had this dumb grin on his face, and then he actually asked if I wanted her to be my new mom. Oh no, she'd hypnotized him for sure. In a rush, I called Lisa to tell her about it. She came up with the idea of asking her mom to join us at the Christmas market this week. Bummer. She refused. Apparently she had too much wedding planning to do. Ugh. And if you're thinking it couldn't get worse, then Dad invited Lucy along. So Lisa asked her mom to let her stay with me for a few days, so we could teach this Lucy some lessons. May the pranking commence. That morning, Lucy showed up in this fancy light blue dress and ordered Dad to get her a chocolate-covered waffle. What a shame. I accidentally knocked it all over her outfit. Oops. Then a fake fly somehow fell into her hot chocolate. Her eyes almost bulged out of her head when she drank that. But she just gave us a cunning smirk, then grabbed Dad's arm and cuddled close to him. Unbelievable! But diamond cuts diamond. When Dad went to the restroom, with sparkling eyes, I said, "Lucy, I really admire a nice person like you. My dad's only a mechanic with $1,500 a month, but you still love him." So this isn't true. He ran his own business. But anyway. No way! He looks rich, though. Oh, he probably was just desperate to catch your attention. He bragged a little bit. And you're proud of that? That's not funny, sweetie. I am out of your dad's league. There's no way I'm putting up with a brat like you for such a poor man. Right at that moment, my dad returned and, no surprises, they broke up. Now she was out of the picture, Dad was free to win Mary over, right? We three went home, and I noticed that Dad was acting weird. He kept on pacing by the door. Then, when Mary arrived to pick Lisa up, he leapt to open it and blurted out to her, "Have you thought any more about us?" She didn't say anything, but I noticed them exchanging these sorry looks. Their love for each other was so obviously real, as they knew each other since they had nothing. Yet they weren't doing anything about it. It was already December 20th, meaning there were only 2 days left till the wedding day. I couldn't let our plan fail like this. I immediately grabbed my phone to call Lisa, but the ringing was next to me. She'd left her phone at my house. Dang! Then the next morning, I walked by her house to go to school as usual, but no one was home, and she wasn't at school either. Oh my, had they moved to David's already? I told Dad this right away when I got home. He thought for a second and asked me to get in the car ASAP to go to California. So our bumper 2-day road trip began. When we reached the wedding venue, it was empty. Oh no, we were too late. Dad looked devastated, so I put my arm around him and started to lead him out of there. But then the receptionist appeared and said, "Oh, didn't they let you know either? The wedding's been canceled." Dad's face lit up, and we both raced over to the car and started the long drive back. Oh, it felt like ages in the car, and now it was just 2 hours until Christmas Eve. The roads were full of beautiful Christmas decorations. I looked through the windows and saw people gathering with their families, while Dad and I were driving nonstop. How sad. We drove straight to Lisa and Mary's, but they were out, so we sat in the freezing cold on their doorstep and waited. Dad dozed off, his head resting on my shoulder. Bless. Then I saw them walking towards us. Oh man, you should have seen their shocked faces. I shook Dad awake, and he looked over at Mary. She dropped her bags and looked at us astonished. Then Lisa told us the whole story. Turns out, on the way to California, they met 2 amateur robbers who forced them to get out of the car. Mary immediately pounded them with her handbag, while David ran off and hid behind a tree with Lisa. When the robbers scampered off, Mary told David everything from the bottom of her heart. That although David was wealthy, that was not what she wanted. Instead, she just needed a man who could support and protect her. She'd been flattered by his gestures of love, touched by his persistence, and thought that love could be cultivated. But things weren't as simple as that. So they broke up, and the wedding was canceled. Dad and I were stunned. Then, with eyes prickled with tears, my dad said, "Mary, I'm sorry for letting you go. But it's not too late, is it?" Right after, he pulled the old ring from that day out of his pocket and got down on one knee and said, "Mary, will you marry me?" She cried out, "Yes!" Both Lisa and I were bursting with happiness. So now we both have a mom and a dad, and we're pretty much sisters. Yay! This is the warmest Christmas ever.
A lot of kids don't like Mondays, but I do. The start of a new week is full of so many possibilities. And, oh my days, who is she? Whoa, she's beautiful. She is the prettiest girl I've ever seen. She must be new here because I definitely haven't seen her around here before. I'm Evan, and as you can see, I'm kinda short and skinny. I might not be a muscly jock or anything, but I do have a big brain. I'm top of the class in math, sciences, geography, and soy el mejor de la clase en español. I'm proud of my collection of trophies and awards, and as a result, lots of kids in school know who I am. But I don't really like talking to new people. For such a smart guy, I find small talk awkward. It's like the words freeze in my head or something. Anyway, this is the main reason why I've been single for, well, forever. It doesn't matter, I need to focus on my studies anyway. But I do like girls, especially petite girly girls who need me to protect them. Being the smart guy I am, it didn't take me long to find out that the new girl is called Kayla. Kayla. What a sweet name. After a few days of looking through her social media accounts, I'd fallen deep for her. I wanted to tell her how I felt, but I'm just too shy and awkward. So I asked my best friend Liam for advice. Bro, what are you so scared of? You're the #1 guy in this school. Yeah, but only with books. Liam nudged me and said, Only? Dude, it's a big deal being that smart. Girls absolutely love it. You're a bright-looking guy and a top student. Just need to add a little bit of confidence, my friend. I was not sure about that, but what do I know? And Liam is good with girls, so I had to trust him. In fact, I am smart, and I should be proud of it and use it to my advantage. So what should I do to make a move? Now you need to prepare her a gift and surprise her with it in the canteen. Girls love romantic gestures like that. What kind of gift? Don't sweat it. Just get her something you think she'll like. The next day at recess, I carried a box to the canteen. I spotted her sitting with her friends. Oh boy, this was terrifying, but also kind of exciting. As I walked over to her, I noticed how pretty she looked today. Suddenly, she stood up and went to the food stall. Okay, so she was taller than I thought. Yeah, she's quite a bit taller than I thought. Oh no, she's a giant in comparison to me. Abort mission, abort! I turned around and started to walk off when I accidentally bumped into someone and dropped my box. All of my trophies and awards scattered across the floor, along with the love letter I'd written for Kayla. My eyes locked on it, and I was about to leap forward and grab it, but the girl picked it up. Then in a really loud voice said, Oh look, Evan has a crush on Kayla. Who knew a nerd could have such high standards? Or should I say, tall standards? Then everyone burst out laughing. Oh boy, this was embarrassing, so I hurried out of there. Liam, who had been waiting for me outside, stopped me as soon as I passed the door. Dude, what was that? Are you really giving her those as a gift? He snatched the box out of my hand and took a look inside. Well, you said to get her what she liked. And you also said girls like smart guys, so don't these show off enough of my charm? No, not like that. I just expected you to get her a teddy bear or some flowers. Evan, this ain't it. So this was it. My life was over. I'll be a laughingstock forever. I'll have to convince my parents to let me move schools. No, to let me move planets. Huh? It's from Kayla. What? She says she likes me too. Is this thing broken or something? Wow, she says she's heard a lot about me and she admires my achievements. And she wants to hang out sometime. Not long after that, we started dating. She's such a fun girl to be around. But there's one thing bugging me. She's so tall and standing next to her constantly reminds me that I am so short. It never really bothered me before, but it does when I'm around her. People have always said I'm small-framed, but being next to her makes me feel like I'm a hobbit or something. I decided to bulk up, so I started going to the gym, but it was so hot and sweaty in there, it made me feel sick, so I gave up. I was born this way anyway. There's nothing I can do about it. Meanwhile, Kayla didn't seem to bother that I was smaller than her, and being seen in public with me didn't faze her at all. But I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable. So after class, when she was waiting for me by the door to go to lunch together, I muttered out some excuse about needing the library and I'd meet her there in a bit. I know it sounds bad, but I didn't want to hang out with her at school, as I didn't want the other kids gawping at us and making fun of our height difference. I've been in here all lunchtime. I don't want to see Kayla. Oh no, there she is. Phew, she's gone. Oh, why do they put these things so high up? Here, let me. I turned to see it was Kayla. Then she easily grabbed the book and passed it to me. Startled, I peered around to check no one had seen this and spotted two girls giggling and whispering to each other. This was so humiliating. It was bad enough that Kayla was bigger than me, but she was a sporty girl, so she was also stronger than me. One lunchtime, I was struggling to open my bottle of Coke. Suddenly, Kayla appeared, grabbed it off me, and even though I muttered out I wanted to do it, she ignored me and opened it with ease. Then, one night while I was studying, Liam texted me telling me to go check my Insta. There was a picture of me sitting on Kayla's lap in the school garden. What? And then beneath it were loads of comments such as, "Whoa, little baby Evan with She-Hulk Kayla." And one of my friends even said, "Clearly Evan's the wife and Kayla's the husband." No, this couldn't be happening. That afternoon in the school garden, I'd asked Kayla to check my back for an insect bite. But before I could stop her, she'd pulled me onto her lap to check. But some jerk had taken a photo and posted it online saying, "Little Evan is sitting on the lap of his Hulk girlfriend." I was furious, especially with my friend's comment. I mentioned it to Kayla, but she just shrugged and told me they were only messing about and it was no big deal. After that, I didn't want to be around Kayla so much. She just made me feel so small, and I hated being laughed at by the other kids. A few days later, I was running in PE class when I tripped over my own feet and fell so hard onto the ground that I almost fainted. I lay there seeing stars and feeling like an idiot when a load of kids gathered around me. Kayla was also in the sports hall having her training lesson, so she ran over to me and ordered everyone to give me space. Then she bent down and lifted me up in her arms and carried me across the room. This was mortifying, so with the last bit of my energy I shouted, "Put me down! I'm not a baby!" "Oh, okay. I'm just trying to help you." "I don't need your help. It's embarrassing. It's like you're the man in our relationship. You make me feel inferior." Everyone was gawping at us and whispering. Then Kayla put me down and walked off in silence. She looked upset, and I felt kinda bad. That night, Kayla messaged me asking to meet me in the park. When I got there, she was already waiting for me on a bench. I sat down next to her and said, "Look, Kayla, I'm sorry about before. I was just..." "Stop. I want us to stop. You care too much about what other people think. So what if I'm taller and bigger than you? Who cares? You've never been small or weak in my eyes." I was speechless, and she continued, "You just don't value or appreciate me. I know you avoid me at school. I don't want a boyfriend who's embarrassed to be seen with me. I deserve better than that. So it's over, Evan." Then she stood up and walked off. I watched her go, and even though I wanted to run after her and beg her to forgive me, I didn't. I just sat there all alone, feeling like a fool. That night I thought about it a lot. I knew she was right. I've been a jerk, and now I'd lost my amazing, funny, beautiful girlfriend. I shouldn't have let other people's opinions affect me so much because, on reflection, they were irrelevant. I liked her, and she made me happy. So what if she could reach books that I couldn't? Thinking about it, she was actually really helpful to have around. A few days later, I texted Kayla to apologize and asked her for another chance, but she didn't reply. So I arrived at her doorstep with flowers in a box. Kayla opened the door and frowned at me. "I'm an idiot. A great, big, small idiot. But I really like you, Kayla, and I want everyone to know it. I really like Kayla! Please give me another chance, as I'm miserable without you." She stayed silent for a sec, but it felt like an eternity to me. I felt like I could faint until she spoke up. "Yes," she smiled at me. "I'll give you another chance, but don't mess it up this time." I leaped into her arms and hugged her. Yeah, she was holding me in the air, but I didn't care. I was just so happy she was my girlfriend again. After that, I passed her the box which was full. No, not of my trophies and awards, but tubs of strawberry ice cream, her favorite flavor. I might be small and Kayla might be tall, and yeah, okay, maybe this does look funny to some people, but I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. I'm just over the moon, stars, hey, the entire solar system that she's agreed to be my girlfriend again.